We should put that on YouTube.
That hurts so bad.
We should definitely.